Hello and welcome back to the Wishing Well. I'm your host, Matt Pye, and today on the program, we'll be interviewing a very special guest. She's a resident of the Lehigh Valley who has served her community steadfast over the past 32 years in the healthcare industry, 19 of those years in hospice. I'm very pleased to welcome Patricia Talajan. Patricia, welcome.
Thank you, Matt.
Do you prefer Patricia or Trish?
Trish.
Trish. All right, Trish. Well, let's get started. For our viewers, can you explain what hospice is, and then what do you do at hospice?
Hospice is comfort care. It's for patients who are diagnosed with a terminal illness. They have 6 months or less to live. They don't want any further treatments, so they come to hospice for comfort in the process of dying.
Gotcha. Okay. I gotta believe it's safe to assume there's some unknown aspects of your job when you took it, at first. Can you describe what it was like when you first started in hospice, stepping into this new role?
It was pretty overwhelming. It was a lot of medications that were different than what I was used to, and also just experiencing someone's dying process and being with that family that they're pretty much strangers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be tough. Have you grown accustomed to always knowing that, hey, one day you're coming in, you're meeting with a patient, and then they may not be there the very next day?
Yeah, for the most part, with all the years experience that I've had, I do get used to knowing that I'm not going to see them again when I leave. On occasion, there are patients that surprise us and die before we expect them to, but for the most part, I am accustomed to that.
I got to believe you're also around a lot of family members that come in. I mean, are there any challenges when having to, face family members, especially if maybe they haven't come to grips with what's happening with their loved one?
I think when they come from the hospital, they're so used to all the IVs and all the medications to try to treat things. So the challenge is explaining and educating that we're not doing that anymore, and try to get them out of that denial phase of their loved one's not going to be the way they were before they came to us.
Gotcha. And when their loved one pass away, do you ever interact with the family members after the fact?
Yeah, they do come to the inpatient unit to thank the staff for the care that they received and their loved one, the care that they received. Also, they tend to want to see the room that the person died in, so if it's available, we'll show them. And it feels good to know that they still think of us even though they were going through this terrible time in their life.
Okay. There's patients sometimes when no matter what you do, you just can't ease their pain. I know there's a lot of issues. My mom was in hospice. How does that make you feel, and how do you handle that?
It's pretty frustrating. They bring their family to us to make them comfortable, and the response is, well, why can't you make them comfortable? What did we bring them here for? Knowing that it does take time to figure out what their needs are, but for the most part, we like to have that last view of the patient that they see, seeing that they're comfortable.
Gotcha. Now, you talked about how people can be there as long as 6 months. So I got to believe in some cases you're probably making personal connections with these folks. I mean, so how do you handle that? Is that difficult once they're finally not there anymore?
So where I work is the inpatient unit, and they're not there that long. Home hospice would be if they're there, if they're not as imminent.
Okay.
Our inpatient unit is where I work. That is more imminent death, and a lot of our patients come to us unresponsive. So we don't really make a connection with them. Sometimes we make a connection with the families, but they're not there that long to really build that connection.
Are there any patients that maybe perhaps are awake and you can interact with them, that maybe you've had a personal interaction, a genuine interaction with them, and maybe it affected you in your job or in your life?
On occasion, there is a patient that comes in that is awake and can talk to us. I think the ones that affect me the most are the ones my age, ones that are my children's age. Those really hit hard for me.
No, I could definitely understand that. I got to believe working in hospice, can be depressing, can be very sad at some times. So what's kept you motivated coming through the door, every time you come to work?
Knowing that I'm helping families get through this grieving process, educating them, trying to make it a little bit easier for them, and helping the patient have a peaceful and comfortable death.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for everything that you do. Is there anything that we can help you with at your hospice, and our viewers in the community? Can they help out in any way?
So we have a foundation called Judith Adele Agentis Charitable Foundation. They started by providing dinners. Local restaurants provide dinners to the inpatient unit, to the families, maybe once a month or so. They rotate. And they also have a fund for scholarship.
Oh, for scholarship.
Yeah,
Wow.
for those who are interested in palliative and hospice care.
Well, seems like a very worthwhile, organization. So to our viewers at home, you can visit the Judith Adele Agentis Foundation website below so you can help out hospice. Trish, it's been wonderful having you here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, coming up next on The Wishing Well, we'll be visiting with a family who's had a personal experience with their loved one under the care of hospice. So stay right there.